tried 6 different microphones for the vocals on the production of this song, ranging from $200 to even almost $4,000. Here's what I learned. Special shout out to Sweetwater for sending out these microphones for me to test. So what I've done is I've tested out 6 different microphones and recorded the same vocals for the same track and put them in the production, and we're going to compare them and hear them side by side. So first I'm going to show you the raw vocals for each microphone, then I'm going to show you the mixed version for each microphone with the final version of the mix, and then I'll share with you all the things that I learned throughout this process. This is the Mojave MA300. I was actually very, very impressed with this microphone. I actually don't see this microphone mentioned a lot with some of the others in this video, but this one is not to be slept on. One of my favorites from this batch of microphones, for sure. This is the AKG C414, and it's nice and gold. This one's actually really cool because it has some extra functionality in it. It has different pickup patterns, so you can rotate between which pickup pattern you want to use the microphone in. And on the back, you have control for a low cut filter as well as your gain. I also really like how small it is. It doesn't really take a lot of space, and it kind of looks pretty cool with the black and gold. This one is a big boy. This is the Warm Audio 87. This has often been recognized as the cheaper version or budget version of the Neumann U87. It also has some gain controls here, as well as a low cut, and the actual pickup pattern as well, so you can do figure 8, cardioid, or omnidirectional. It's definitely a lot bigger than the others. You'll see it here next to the Rode NT1A. It's a big boy. Okay, next up we've got the Manley microphone. Ironically, it's in this like nice feminine tool bag, even though it's a very manly microphone. Has a nice little cover case, has the kind of shock mount already built into the microphone itself. Also has some gain controls here, and the mounting option is here on the actual shock mount. Really big microphone, really cool looking and impressive. Also sounds really awesome. I really enjoyed this one. Okay, and last but not least, we have the Neumann U87, which I showed you my first impressions of this microphone in comparison to the NT1A in my last video, but I didn't go over some of the specifics. It has different pickup patterns here that you can adjust from omnidirectional to cardioid to figure 8, and it's probably one of the most recognized microphones for being at any professional studio. A lot of big artists have used every single mic that I've talked about today, but this one is probably one of the most mentioned ones out of all of them. So the song we're working with today came out several months ago. It's on Spotify. It's called Media Naranja. I'll put a link to it in the description, which, by the way, the release version of this song was used recording the NT1A from Rode.
Me encanta verte contento, me encanta cuando me hablas con acento. Me compra flores y me saca el asiento. Cualquier amante murió en el intento. Atento, es bien atento y su sonrisa me quita el aliento. Cuando me mira no sé lo que siento. Me gusta cuando me besa bien lento, lento. No le gusta bailar, pero si baila conmigo. Cuando está el invierno él me quita ese frío. Dosito me iluminó y bendijo mi camino. Y ahora es todo mío, sí, ahora todo es mío. I didn't know that he was gonna be the one for me. That God would bless me with this man that he had made for me. But I knew it from the minute that I met him, and now I just can't let him go. Yeah, I knew it from the minute that I met him, and I ain't letting go. He got the smile that can make me melt on a nice cap. Knows how to make me laugh, and I like that.
So you have a bit of an idea of what the song sounds like. That was recorded with the Rode NT1A, a mic that came out several years ago and is still in the $200 range. So I'm going to show you what those Rode NT1A vocals sound like raw, and then we'll compare them to the raw vocals for the other microphones in the lineup.
I didn't know that he was gonna be the one for me. That God would bless me with this man that he had made for me. But I knew it from the minute that I met him. I didn't know that he was gonna be the one for me. That God would bless me with this man that he had made for me. But I knew it from the minute that I met him, and now I didn't know that he was gonna be the one for me. That God would bless me with this man that he had made for me. But I knew it from the minute that I met him, and now I didn't know that he was gonna be the one for me. That God would bless me with this man that he had made for me. But I knew it from the minute that I didn't know that he was gonna be the one for me. That God would bless me with this man that he had made for me. But I knew it from the minute that I met him, and now I just can't let him go. I didn't know that he was gonna be the one for me. That God would bless me with this man that he had made for me. But I knew it from the minute that I met him, and now I just can't let him go.
So now that you've heard the raw vocals, let me show you what they sound like processed in the context of the mix. The dubs and the backup vocals will still be the original vocals that were recorded on the Rode NT1A. So just focus on the lead vocal. That's the vocal that's going to be switching out from different microphones.
I didn't know that he was gonna be the one for me. That God would bless me with this man that he had made for me. I didn't know that he was gonna be the one for me. That God would bless me with this man that he had made for me. I didn't know that he was gonna be the one for me. That God would bless me with this man that he had made for me. I didn't know that he was gonna be the one for me. That God would bless me with this man that he had made for me. I didn't know that he was gonna be the one for me. That God would bless me with this man that he had made for me. I didn't know that he was gonna be the one for me. God would bless me with this man that he had made for me.
Here are some of the things that I learned as I worked with each of these vocals and each of these microphones. Number one, each microphone requires different mixing. That's not to say that they all require the same foundational elements of mixing, like EQ, compression, de-essing, all that kind of stuff. They all require those things in order to get production level quality out of it, but the adjustments that you make on them are very different based off of the microphone. The U87, I didn't have to boost the mid-range very much because that was already very present in the original recording. And I didn't have to do as much work to compress the higher end frequencies in comparison to something like the Rode NT1A. On the AKG mic, I noticed that the high end was actually very tinny and already boosted significantly, and some of the lower and mid frequencies were already kind of subtracted naturally in the way the mic captured my voice. So I found that I needed to boost those frequencies a little bit more and compress the higher end frequencies a little bit more. On the Mojave mic, it was very, very similar to the Neumann U87. I didn't have to do a lot of work to the mid-range or the high end in comparison to my Rode NT1A. The Warm Audio 87 was somewhere in the middle. Every microphone captures audio a little bit differently, so it's going to be important to understand that if you change the microphone that you're using, in addition to like the environment or the person that you're recording, then you're going to have to mix it a little bit differently to get the ultimate results from it. Number two, every microphone records at a very different output of volume, and it's all dependent on the power that's going through it and also just the type of microphone. So you're going to want to be aware of the microphone and test your levels to make sure that your input levels are correct in your interface before you start recording. I get a lot of questions about the levels that I use to record. A lot of people pay a lot of attention to the actual volume, like input knob on the interface, when in reality that varies heavily on the equipment that you're using to record and the power that's going behind it. So something that I noticed naturally was, for example, the Manley microphone naturally recorded a lot louder than a lot of the other microphones. And then probably the U87 and the Warm Audio recorded a very similar level of volume along with the Mojave, and the AKG was a little bit quieter. So as I recorded these takes, I had to adjust the input levels in my interface to make sure that I was capturing the audio at the adequate level for recording. As you're testing your microphone, usually if you see your levels somewhere between -12 and -6 dB, you're usually in a pretty good spot. You'll just want to be listening for the noise level and what's being captured. So maybe do a test recording to really catch your levels, and then actually do your final recording with the right levels on it. Number 3, some mics work better for specific genres or specific type of vocals. For example, what a male artist might prefer to record their vocals on might be different than what a female vocalist might prefer to record their vocals on. And it's not to say that you can't use any microphone to capture the audio as long as they're meant for vocals, for example, but it is to say there are certain frequencies that get captured a little bit better on certain microphones. That being said, for example, the AKG, personally, I found that it was actually naturally very much on the high end and very thin on the vocals. So a male vocalist is likely not going to want to use the AKG unless they're aware of that when it comes to processing and messing with the frequencies in the EQ. At the end of the day, they are capturing the audio, and you can always manipulate it in the mixing process to get the best results that you're looking for. But what a microphone choice does do for you is eliminate some of those steps and get you a little bit closer to the final result from the beginning, rather than having to do a lot of post-processing work to get it to where you want it. Number 4, expensive doesn't always mean better. Honestly, I was so impressed with the Rode NT1A and how it held up with some of these microphones who are, $1,000, $2,000, $3,400, $3,700 microphones. Just because a microphone is more expensive doesn't mean that it better suits your situation. You'll want to take into account everything that I've talked about today. How hot it records, what kind of frequencies it captures best, how much post-processing you're going to require, and what kind of artist you're going to be recording, what kind of genre you're going to be recording, what environment are you going to be recording in. All those kinds of things matter a lot more as far as it goes to your decision on what microphone you're going to use versus the price tag. Obviously, don't be reckless and buy something that you can't afford. Number 5, the last thing that I learned about testing all of these microphones is that it's all really subjective. At the end of the day, you just need to pick the best microphone for your specific use case. In my case, most, if not all of the recording that I do in my studio are my own vocals. So I know exactly what I want my vocals to sound like. I know exactly that my recordings are always happening in the studio, so I know the environment that I'm recording in, and I know the type of music that I'm recording. Those pieces of information together help me make a better decision when it comes to choosing what microphone is best for my productions. So I would just say there's no such thing as the perfect microphone. There's only a great microphone for your specific situation. So take that into consideration as you look at shopping for different microphones. Thank you so much to Sweetwater for sending me these microphones to test out. If you're in the market for a microphone, check out the link in the description of Sweetwater. They actually have Mic Month going on for the month of May, and you can cop some deals if you're in the market for a microphone right now. So there you have it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss future videos. And as always, if you ever have any questions or want to keep up with what I'm doing, follow me on Spotify, Instagram, TikTok. Keep making beats.